Whatever this delusion is that you guys will ever be able to compete with me, let go of it. Salute, MobTube. How is everybody today? Let's see. Joey Dimes, M. Soretti, Miss Can't Be Wrong, Deadly 30, Gilded Age, Jesse Roth, Scott McDonald, Don Vito Cascioferro, Davis Dean, The Real Sleepy Joe. All right, thank you, Real Sleepy Joe. Cinnamon Muff. Cinnamon Muff. Thank you for that compliment. Don Vito Cascioferro, there's a post on Vinny Green's community page saying he's dead. Has that idiot written that himself as a way out of this genre? Apparently he's been sending in beloved text and she's turned him down. Well, listen, I just got a phone call about this before this show. And, since this is an addiction and recovery show, I try not to talk about this MobTube stuff during these streams, but I hope he's dead. I do. I honestly do. If he is, that's fantastic fucking news. I wish I could get confirmation, you know what I mean? So I could truly celebrate. But nah, the guy is a liar. Everything he says and does is a lie. I don't know how he dropped from almost 2,000 subs to 50-something subs. Probably because the subs were fake to begin with. A guy like Vinny Green can't get that many subs. So I don't know what's going on, but listen, if he's dead, good. I'm glad. I couldn't be happier. He deserves it. Let's see who else. It's a hell of a way to start off an addiction and recovery show, huh? My apologies, everyone. Everyone except Vinny. Common Sense, my man. Michael Hensley. Edward Everett. Terry Time, oldest and baddest. How are you? Miss Charlie Steen. Yes, he is. And this is coming from Carmine Couchy, huh? Wait a minute. Is that, or am I thinking of a different Couchy? I have no idea. But yeah, he is a fraud. Absolutely. And if he's dead, he was a fraud. Oh my God, please, Ferrari. Guy doesn't have 2 cents to rub together. I was told he's a cook at L&B Spumoni Gardens. I'm glad you enjoy it, Cinnamon Muff. Your name cracks me up. Thank you for the smile. And yes, this cough is it's no fun, but other than that, I feel fine. I have no complaints. I've been going to bed early. You know what I mean? Sleeping well. Now, you guys know how it goes. This is an addiction and recovery show, so we're not going to get that many people, although that's kind of disappointing because I think these shows can appeal to people other than just the ones who have struggled with addiction or recovery. I think maybe hearing some of the stuff I'm going to say today will be slightly entertaining, but it's all good. It's all good. I'm glad we're able to do this. I've been wanting to do this for a while. Well, since I got back. Actually, since I was in South Florida. And I'll tell you why in a minute. I'll get down to what brought this particular episode to fruition. Chicago Chris, what's up, bro? What's the false alarm, Miss Can't Be Wrong? Oh, the Michael Hensley birthday thing? September 25th. Wow. We got to remember that. MRE has a trolling addiction. He does. He does. He has a cock addiction, too. Alicia Monty, salute. Christopher Capello. Yeah, bro. And listen, I was just talking to somebody about it a little while ago. I'm glad she was. Common sense, regardless if anyone has a personal struggle with addiction, there is not a person on earth who doesn't have a family member or friend who hasn't anyone can relate if they are honest. Anyways, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Everybody's got someone, I mean, in their lives who have struggled with addiction or currently struggling with addiction or something. Even if you just watch the news and see, how bad things are getting with fentanyl and all this other stuff. And look, something like alcoholism, without a doubt, is no stranger to anyone. If you haven't dealt with it yourself, you know somebody who has. Same with other drugs. But today's thing is the opiates, the fentanyl, and now Wise Guy TV sent me to this episode on Vice TV. Or Vice News, I'm sorry, called, what was that? Benzo, Dope, and Trank, the next wave of the overdose crisis. It's basically the mixture, I guess, in one pill of benzos and fentanyl. And of course, people are dropping dead left and right. If you guys haven't seen this, check it out. Vice News, it's on YouTube. You can watch it for free. If you guys, sorry about that. It's titled Benzo, Dope, and Trank. That's TRANQ. The next wave of the overdose crisis. It is really something else. It really is. But I'll tell you why I wanted to do this particular episode. I always try to fit addiction and recovery shows in whenever I can. Sometimes it's hard with all the other nonsense, and you take a little hit financially sometimes, so it's tough to always fit them in. I should be better with that. But while we were in South Florida, let me tell you, let me start with that. First of all, let's go over a little bit of my history. Yeah, it is really good, Mustache Pete. And congratulations on the $100 you won last night on the sit down. My drugs of choice were always cocaine and alcohol. Okay, so maybe Miami isn't the best destination for a person who has those as their drugs of choice. It's obviously the cocaine capital of America. I'm quite sure. I think it always was, always will be, I would think, because of the ports and everything else. But it's a party town. You know what I mean? Now, we only spent a couple of nights in Miami, and we did our thing. We did a little shopping and stuff in Miami itself. We were in a hotel in Miami Beach, and we, during the day, we did the beach thing, went in the ocean, whatever, laid out for a little while. In the evenings, we either went and did a little shopping or went and got something to eat or just hung out at the hotel. It's not like we go to any of these places, but you don't have to. Just driving through a place like Miami, if there is any other place like Miami, every fucking block, the sidewalks are filled with people, outdoor seating, drinking, partying everywhere. There's people outside of clubs. I mean, there's alcohol everywhere, but that wasn't that much of a big deal. When you get to the Hard Rock, which is where we got to next, okay, Friday and Saturday we were in Miami. Well, Sunday we left Miami and we went to the Hard Rock. And we met Soflo and stuff. Now, let me tell you something about the Hard Rock. The Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, as far as I'm concerned, should be on everyone's bucket list. Okay, it is an unbelievable place. It's like the eighth wonder of the world. It's amazing. Okay, it's basically 3 hotels and everything else you can imagine all in one. The most amazing pools and the casino, and there's a nightclub, I think, and a day club. It's I think it's like a 24-hour thing, or at least it's called a nightclub day club, which means they're rocking during the day too. When we were there on our first day on Sunday, they had a huge party going on. They have like a huge pool party, and it's a club. It's an indoor outdoor nightclub at the Hard Rock. Unbelievable. They always have like a celebrity DJ just killing it while everybody parties and does their thing. So seeing that, now I'm a guy who worked in nightclubs for, a lot of years. I was a DJ. It's how I made my living. So I was never that big into the club lifestyle, but there is something appealing about it. So when you're in a place like the Hard Rock and you see something like that, you see all the people. I mean, the fucking women are walking around. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It's basically a mall. And it's just filled with the most perfect people you've ever seen. Women walking around half naked in bikinis, just walking around the fucking mall. And a lot of them are going into the nightclub or just came out of it, whatever. It's really something else. So for even me, a guy who spent a lot of my life in nightclubs and was never really that drawn to it for any other reason than, it was my job. You still see something like that and you're like, wow, I would kill to just go hang out there for a couple hours. You know what I mean? Like, shit. But then it's everything else too. It's everything else. As you walk through that hotel, even like the David Off cigar store. One of the reasons I didn't get a cigar there, which was absolutely one of my plans, I was going to get a cigar. I was going to either smoke it outside or whatever. Well, the one day I was actually planning on doing that, we went there and I was looking through the cigars. And they didn't have my favorites, but I was going to get something. And it was pouring rain outside at that point. And the guy tells me, you guys can feel free, because Shanna was even going to get a cigar and try it. She's never smoked one, but he showed her some little cigars and said women like them, whatever. And he said to us, you can go in our lounge and smoke your cigars. And we even have a whole line of brandies and rums and this and that. And I'm like, yeah. I mean, I don't shy away from being around alcohol. It's not that big a deal to me, but it was kind of like enough at that point. So I thought, you know what? I'll skip the cigar for now. You know what I'm saying? But then you go in the fucking casino. My God. I mean, first of all, let me give them props for one thing. It's the only casino I've been in years where it's all smoking. Okay? They don't have a smoking section. They have a non-smoking section. Oh, yeah. If you don't smoke, go in this little room and play your game. If you do smoke, you're welcome anywhere else. That was a pleasant surprise. But alcohol everywhere. Everywhere. The servers are coming around, the cocktail waitresses with their trays. They don't have Coke or Pepsi or Sprite or water. No, it's Miller Lite or some sort of mixed drink, rum and Coke, whatever. It's like you can't even get a fucking regular beverage. There's several other places in there as well that are all about drinking and stuff. And then every restaurant, you know what I mean? Now, Sunday, we went out with Tony and Tina Soflo. We went out to dinner. And, Tony and I believe, I'm not sure if Tina had any drinks or not, but Tony was drinking. He was sitting right across from me. That was kind of the first time I'd been that close to alcohol, literally since I went to rehab. You know what I mean? I don't even know what the fuck he was drinking, but some sort of mixed drink. And, it caught my attention. We'll say that. You know what I mean? Obviously, how can it not? But that didn't, that wasn't too bad. That was kind of the beginning of it. But then it was like, the next day, me and Nikki Blade and his lovely wife and Tony and his lovely wife and me and my lovely wife, we went to a place called Graziano's in Miami. And again, with the exception of me and Shanna and Nikki, I think everybody at the table was drinking. They had some big pitcher of some fruity looking deliciousness. I don't know what the fuck it was, but I'm not going to lie to you and sit here and say that it did not look appealing. I mean, Jesus Christ. There was a part of me that wanted to just snatch the fucking pitcher out of Soflo's hand and just pour it down my fucking throat. Yeah, they'll make videos and shit out of what I just did. I don't care. A lot of alcohol. That's all I guess. Everybody's drinking. You know, we at one point talked a little bit to the people at the table next to us. Fucking lit. People were wasted. You know what I mean? And it's like everybody's having so much fun, but they're all having it with alcohol. You know what I mean? It's not like for the most part, nobody is just like me and Shanna. The entire trip we stayed obviously clean and sober. But my point is, it was a challenge, you know. And then the next night there was no alcohol or anything. We went to Soflo's house, had dinner, did a little show. Shanna hung out with Tina and Nona and all that stuff. And you know, that was cool. But then we started going to the pools at the Hard Rock. And let me tell you, first of all, if you haven't swam in the pools at the Hard Rock, you haven't lived life yet. Okay, it's fucking amazing. Big giant pools with the guitar right there in front of you. I mean, you know, you could lay on your beach chair and order food, whatever you want. They bring it right to you. I mean, it's a hell of a time. But again, the servers bring the people their drinks right to the fucking pool. And I don't mean poolside. I mean in the pool. They'll sit a fucking tray right there with pitchers and mixed drinks and beers and every fucking thing else. And there's just groups of people drinking at 12 o'clock noon. You know what I mean? It's like there's no escaping it. There's no escaping it. And that's, you know, that's the thing. Like, don't get me wrong when I talk about like when I was with Tony and he was, you know, having a couple drinks and stuff. I would never listen. The day I have to be like, bro, do me a favor, don't drink around me. The day I have to do that is the day I just throw in the fucking towel. It wasn't like they did anything wrong, not at all. You know, it's just that when people, I think a lot of the time when people, you know, people just don't generally think about, oh, well, this person right here doesn't drink. Maybe this will bother him, something like that. But it really didn't. Like I said, it was just the beginning of it. But, you know, back to the pools, you know, that shit, that was the toughest. Because I ain't going to lie. You know, you're in this pool. It's 100 fucking degrees outside. You're having the time of your life, perfectly clean and sober. But then you see this group of people next to you with these big pitchers of mixed drinks, ice cold. I would be lying if I said that I didn't want to indulge. But I know the other side of it. Like those people are drinking 12 o'clock in the fucking afternoon. They're getting wasted in this pool, baking in the sun. They're going to feel like dog shit tomorrow. And there might be some consequences too. Maybe an unwanted pregnancy, maybe an arrest. You know, who knows? All the things that come with drinking a lot of the time. Not usually for normal people. When I say normal, I mean people who don't struggle with alcoholism. But for someone like me or a lot of you guys in the chat, I knew that even if I said, let's just say I was willing to say, you know what? I'm gonna just say, fuck it. I'm on vacation. I'm going to drink one day. First of all, that could have never happened. Shanna would have literally killed me, without a doubt. But even if I was willing to do that and somehow able to get away with it, I know in the back of my mind the consequences of that action, of that one day of drinking, what it would do. First of all, my wife never saw me under the influence of anything. I've never seen her under the influence of anything. I don't ever want her to see me under the influence. I told you guys before, I am not a happy drunk. Somebody like Soflo can have a few drinks and be energetic and happy and smiling and cheery. Not me. My mind goes to a dark place, okay, and I get violent, very violent and vicious. And it's not good. And it often results in things like arrests. Like, listen, for example, when I showed my criminal record, that you have to understand is only crime, as in misdemeanors and felonies. If you look up like I don't know how they do it, if it's through PennDOT or what. I have something like 19 alcohol-related offenses. No bullshit. I mean, I used to get arrested all the fucking time. I got arrested. Let me tell you guys a story. Yesterday I had mentioned, because MRE is talking about this thing when I went to the psych ward, and he jumped to this conclusion that I tried to hurt my daughter's mother or something. No, it was a dude that I wanted to kill, and I had tried to, and I went to the psych ward and blah, blah, blah. Well, about 3 years later, what was it? It was 2010, New Year's Eve. Okay. So at midnight, it was going to be 2011. I was at a club here in York. I think it was Banana Max. I think. I'm pretty sure. So I was at this club, New Year's Eve, partying. You know, I had a couple of girls with me, a couple of friends with me, whatever. I was doing my thing. I was drinking. This was not during one of my long stretches of serious addiction. This was during that time when I was working a factory job, and I would just go out every now and then and drink. I would go out once a month or something. I'd get fucked up, and that was it. I was able to do that for years. Well, this particular night, that guy that I talked about trying to hurt in the past, he showed up at the club. Now, this guy was deathly afraid of me for obvious reasons. Okay. He knew not to fuck with me. He learned the hard way in the past, but he was drinking too. Now, the whole night, he went out of his way to avoid me. You know what I mean? He kept his head down if he walked past me. He sat on the total other end of the fucking club. If we were on the dance floor and I was near him, he walked away. He was good. The whole night he was behaving himself. Towards the end of the night, right before midnight, he comes out of the bathroom while I'm walking in the bathroom, and he looks right at me and he mumbled something under his breath. I'm not going to tell you what it was, but it was the last thing he should have been saying to me. It was the one thing that could make me react the way I did. So I punched him in the face. I grabbed him by the neck. I started choking him. I threw him on the ground, kicking him. I'm fucking him up, right? At this point, little did I know, because of the fact that it was New Year's Eve. And listen, let me tell you about York. If you're going to a club or a bar to drink in York, don't bother driving. Okay. Just don't even, under any circumstances, you shouldn't anyway, never drink and drive. But even if you're just going and having one or two drinks, the cops sit in those parking lots and they wait for people to leave, and they'll pull you over for the slightest thing because they know you've had a few. Well, little did I know, the cops are already outside. Okay. So I fuck him up on the dance floor. I start running towards the door. I get outside, and there's the cops. I basically run right into the arms of a York City police officer. This was right at this point. It was like a few minutes after midnight, some shit like that. I wind up being docket number 2 for the year 2011. This is no bullshit. I could probably still find the fucking citation. Docket number 2. And it wasn't even because of the fight inside. The bouncers knew me and shit. Nobody told on me, even the dude I beat up. Nobody said a word. It was because when I ran outside, I literally ran into a cop, and I started being, a little verbally abusive and, doing what you'd probably expect me to do if I was drunk. So they took me to York City Police Station, central booking, all that shit. I wound up being docket number 2 for the year 2011. Now, while they were booking me, the cops said to me that I was going to be docket number 2. And my response in my drunken stupor was, so a few minutes sooner and I could have been number 1. Motherfucker. I was not happy about that. I didn't want to be number 2. I wanted to be number 1. But that's just, maybe a little bit of an indicator to you what I'm like sometimes when I get drunk. I can be fun in the beginning. I can have a good old fucking time. You know what I mean? Smile on my face. I'm happy. I'm euphoric. But then just out of nowhere, it's just one drink too many or something. Too much time passes. I don't know. And something up here snaps and I go off. You know what I mean? And I'll never forget that next morning. Because the next morning I woke up in my bedroom at my apartment. Okay. I had no cell phone. My phone was gone. My jacket that I wore the night before, I had this nice leather fucking jacket that I wore to the club. Gone. Nowhere to be found. My keys, couldn't find them. I didn't know what to fucking do. I had no idea what to do. I was like, what the fuck? I was in a complete and total blackout the night before. So I remembered nothing, not a thing. I had no idea. All I knew is I went to Banana Max. I didn't remember the fight. I didn't remember. It started coming back in bits and pieces, but mainly I was told about it by other people, what I did and shit. And my friend Andrew, who happened to be with me, just happened to hear, and Andrew died, rest in peace. He died a couple of years ago, but he heard what this dickhead mumbled under his breath, and he was able to fill me in on why I did what I did. But I didn't know what to do. So I started walking around New York City looking for a fucking payphone. No lie. This is in 2011 now. Luckily, on this one corner, I think it was on Richland and Princess, I found the fucking payphone that actually worked. And I was able to call my friend Andrew and say, what the fuck, bro? What happened? He was like, bro, I got everything. I got your cell phone. I got your jacket. You know what I mean? He told me what happened. He said, so-and-so walked past you. He made a certain comment. You punched him in the face, started choking him, threw him on the dance floor, all that shit. And what took place after that, because he was pretty much by my side the whole time. So, plus a couple of other girls, this girl Brandy and some other people that were with us, they filled me in. So that's just, to give you an idea of what can happen in the blink of an eye when I fucking drink. You know what I'm saying? And I've done so much ugly shit under the influence of alcohol. Coke, forget it. You guys know. You could do Coke all day, every fucking day. Nobody even know you're on it. You know what I mean? But alcohol, no. And I mean, ex-girlfriends and friends of mine and everything else have seen me, get vicious and get violent and evil and everything else when I drink it. You do the other stupid shit. You start sending out text messages. The next day you wake up, you're like, oh, who the fuck did I alienate last night? Shit like that. So those are the things I think about anytime I'm considering just ripping a mixed drink out of somebody's hand and pouring it directly down my fucking throat. I think about that morning when I woke up, before I went to look for that payphone, the only thing I did find, my wrists were killing me that morning. Sorry, I forgot this part of the story. My wrists were hurting. I'm like, what the fuck? I said, oh God, please don't tell me I got arrested. So while I'm searching my dresser and everything else for my cell phone and all my shit, I find the fucking citation. It was like public drunkenness, engaging in fighting. And the fighting wasn't for the fight in the club. I think it was because, I don't know, I pushed the cop or some shit like that, and he went easy on me. I don't even remember the exact details, but I was on probation then. And I had to go to my PO the following Tuesday. I think that was on a Saturday, a Friday night or Saturday night. So I was sure I was going to get violated, but all they really care about at probation is your fines and costs. I was supposed to get off probation in like 3 months. When I went to probation a few days after that incident, I brought the citation. I was honest with the PO. I said, listen, this is what happened. I slipped. I got drunk. I got in a fight, whatever. I got this ticket. And she said, no lie. She said, at least you didn't drive. I said, nope, I didn't drive. Now, here's what I did. Sorry if I'm bouncing around, guys. Here's what I did before that meeting. I knew that I had to do something to kiss my PO's ass, just in case she wanted to violate me. I owed like $1,380 something yet on my fines and costs. This is from my 2007 DUI. I got $8,000 fucking dollars in fines and costs for my second DUI. So I knew I owed like 1,300 and whatever. I brought that amount on me. Okay. So this way, if she's going to violate me, I could say, look, listen, I'll pay off my fines and costs right now. I'll do whatever you ask. I'll do my drug and alcohol counseling again, whatever. I had a good job at the time. My daughter was living with me. I didn't need to get violated. Life was good. So I said, I knew in my head that I was not going to give up this money only to get violated and be taken to jail. So I was basically haggling with my PO. I was like, listen, this is how much I owe on my fines and costs. I'm prepared to pay that off today if I know you're not going to violate me and I'm not going to wind up going to jail right now. And she said, well, listen, I can't promise you anything. I have to talk to my supervisor about this. But this is what you can do. Go downstairs to the clerk of courts, pay your fines and costs, okay? Bring me the receipt. I'll show it to my supervisor and we'll make a decision. I said, oh. Now I'm fucked because I could go to jail and not have the money. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to pay that money if you're going to jail. I had bills. I had an apartment. I had all kinds of shit that money could have gone to. But I took the risk. I went downstairs. I paid all the money. I brought up the receipt. She left the office, came back with a paper, said, we're letting you off of probation as of today. Sign right here. And that was it. But anyway, that was me getting sidetracked. Point being is, in Florida, after the Hard Rock, there wasn't really, I don't think when we went out with Pee Wee and his wife, I don't think they had a drink or anything. We weren't really around too much, I don't think. The restaurant, the one restaurant we went to, stuff like that. But that Hard Rock was a test. But I have moments like that. I told you guys I was in the Poconos once, and I was with Shanna. We were on vacation at Pocono Palace in the mountains, and we went to dinner, and there was a table next to us with a bunch of fucking mixed drinks and shit, and I froze up for a second. I was like, I wanted one so bad. You know what I mean? But these are the things I think about. I think that if Shanna saw me under the influence of alcohol even once, I'm not saying she'd leave me or something, but I'll tell you this. She would never look at me the same way again. I can promise you that. Same with you guys. If you ever saw me come on here drunk, okay, forget about the horrible fact that I relapsed or whatever. It would just be my behavior would turn you off to me so fucking much. You'd never look at me the same way again. And not to mention, also I am... my OCD and all that stuff. I know that recovery is a journey. And I know that relapse is part of it. A lot of people relapse all the time in their recovery. They're constantly starting over their clean and sober time. And it's really not that big of a deal because it is part of it. You know what I mean? Nobody should beat themselves up because they relapse. It happens. It's part of addiction. It's part of recovery. But me, it's a nightmare of mine. It really, truly is. So I know that, let's just say in that pool that day, I gave in and I ordered a fucking Long Island iced tea or something. That's it. Even if somehow I was able to just drink that one drink, which that'd be impossible. I wouldn't even bother having just one drink. That would just be the start of 10 more. But even if I was able to somehow pull that off, listen, I can lie to everybody else, but I can't lie to myself. I would know the next morning, motherfucker, you made it. 38 fucking months. 38 months. And you had to have a fucking drink. And I just can't do it to myself. I can't. But I'll tell you what, if there's any place in this country that will truly test your sobriety and your recovery process, it is South Florida, specifically Miami and Fort Lauderdale, places like that. It is truly, it's not like, me doing my everyday business in a town like this. It's something completely different. I mean, it's just like how I said, like in the Hard Rock Casino, like if you don't smoke, you're the outsider, you're like the misfit, that's how it is with alcohol there. I mean, it's not the people drinking that stand out, it's the people who aren't. They're looking at you like, what, you don't want to drink? Like, they look at you like you got three heads when you're not drinking. I remember the one time me and Shannon were playing some slots, and I asked the fucking girl for a Coke. She disappeared. And the guy a few slots down said, "Bro, you drink Miller Lite? Because I have one I didn't open yet. I know you're waiting for a drink." I said, "Bro, no. I'm waiting on a Coke, bro. I don't drink." "Oh, you don't drink? Oh, okay." It like shocks people. It shocks people. Alcohol, listen, I don't give a fuck what anybody says, period. Alcohol is the most dangerous drug on the planet fucking Earth. There's no denying that. It's in the numbers. It's in the statistics. I had a drug and alcohol counselor tell me one time, I don't know if this is true, but during the years of Vietnam, okay, during the time, of that war, more people died of drunk driving accidents than soldiers were killed in Vietnam. Think about that. More people died from drunk driving accidents in America than all the people killed in the Vietnam War during that time. I don't know if that's true, but that's what he told me. And I have a feeling it probably is. You got to think about all the different things that, fucking STDs from random sex with, fucking strangers, drunk driving accidents, violence just brought on by alcohol use, because violence or alcohol causes violence. It causes fights. It causes shit like that. People get drunk and kill fucking people. You put all these different liver disease, heart problems that are brought on by alcohol poisoning, you fucking name it. There's more death and destruction brought on by alcohol than all the other drugs combined. That includes fentanyl, okay? All the other drugs combined. Yet it is the one drug that is perfectly legal, not only legal, but socially accepted to the point where, like I said, if you're not a drinker, you're the outsider. You're like an alien. For real. That's the truth. Now, listen, I'm sure all small and large cities are like this to some extent, whatever, but York City, let me tell you right now, if you don't drink in York City, you don't do anything. Nothing. There's no activity. There's nothing. It's not like when you're in a place like South Florida where you can get up and go jet skiing or go snorkeling or take a boat ride or, go hop in the ocean, whatever. There's nothing to do here in small towns like this. And in a city like that, all it is bars, bars, bars. What does everybody do every night? Bars, nightclubs. That's it. It's all they do. And I think it's like that throughout America. You know what I mean? So I don't know, but it blows my fucking mind, man. And I know what they'll say. Alcohol is legal because of they tried to prohibit it, and look what the fuck happened. The mob, to some extent, was born out of it. I know all that, but it blows my fucking mind that we have these prisons all over this country, local, state, and federal, county, state, and federal, that are filled with people that are in there for nonviolent drug offenses, like selling some marijuana or a couple of grams of cocaine. But this fucking alcohol that's 1,000 times worse can be purchased any fucking where, anywhere, anytime. And nobody looks down on you for having a drink. These fucking days, look, trust me, I know from just my trip in Florida, the airports, everything. God forbid you want to smoke a cigarette. They act like you're banging dope in your arm. They look at you like, ugh, like you're just doing the worst fucking thing. But you could sit out there with a fucking mixed drink this big, and they're like, right on. It's fucking mind-boggling to me. Oh, yeah, that's another thing, of course. And I know that as good as anyone, yeah. Withdrawal. The withdrawal will kill you. Almost killed me a couple of times. It blows my fucking mind, man. It really does. That all this other shit, you keep it illegal, so there's all the crime and the horrible things that come along with it being illegal. But this one thing will always be readily available to anyone who wants it, anywhere they go, any time of day or night. We went in a CVS to get, I forget what the fuck we went in there for. We went in a Jesus Christ, my throat. Bear with me, guys. We went in a CVS to get whatever it was. And there's a whole aisle of just wine and shit. I'm like, Jesus Christ, it's a fucking drugstore. It's unbelievable. I don't know, man. I don't know what to make of it. Let me get all the way back up here because I wouldn't miss this, common sense. $9.99. You are battle tested now, my man. This is a part of your journey. Every day we are tested in life, and it is the decisions we make as men that set us apart. Another stripe you earned in the battle. Thank you, bro. Yeah, that's how I look at it. That's kind of how I look at it, for sure. Because that won't be, it wasn't the first difficult experience, and it won't be the last. That's for sure. Gunsmoke the Dawn is in here. I'm trying to catch up on what you guys are saying. Give me a second. I think it's just mob talk going on in the chat. Joseph Montanero, my old man got a DUI in our driveway. No shit. They followed him home from the liquor store. I was in a DUI class with a guy who had pulled over in a field and was sleeping in his car. And they gave him a DUI because he had alcohol in his system. Now, that's semi-understandable because obviously how did he get to the field? He was driving drunk. But another example, my friend, I like to leave names out of it, but a friend of mine, a dude, him and his girlfriend were at a place called The Waterway in York City. Is a bar, bar and restaurant. And he had gotten into a fight, as, people quite often do in York City, The Waterway. He got in a fight, and all this shit was going on inside the bar. His girlfriend got pissed off. His girlfriend was also a good friend of mine. She got pissed off. She went out to the car. She opened the back door, and she laid down in the back seat. Well, a cop who was on his way to, I guess, check out what was going on with the fight spotted this. And another cop arrived shortly after, went over to the car, knocked on the window, woke her up. She woke up and opened the door. He gave her a breathalyzer, and he fucking gave her a DUI. I swear to God. Okay? She never touched the driver's seat. The car was never turned on. She was in the back seat drunk. But they said because you had the keys to that car, just touching the fucking door handle, they can give you a DUI. Now, I know that sounds impossible, but she fought that case for 2 fucking years and still got convicted of that DUI. So, listen, I'll be the first to say this, okay? Drunk driving is one of the most selfish, most reckless, most dangerous crimes a person can commit. But The DUI laws are a little out of fucking control, without a doubt. But let's face it, they're for revenue generation. That's what they're all about. They are put in place to make money. Okay, you think cops and the government cares? They don't care if people are dying all over the place. They just it's a money maker. You make a fucking, like in PA, they have these signs that say DUI, you can't afford it. Let me tell you something. They ain't lying. You can't afford it. I told you, my last DUI, $8,000 fucking dollars, and that doesn't even include what I had to pay for my house arrest monitoring. I had to pay to be in jail and fucking work release, $14 a day. No bullshit. The DUI classes, drug and alcohol counseling, you got to pay for all that out of your fucking pocket. Okay? It's all a big money maker. The fines, the costs, all that horse shit. So that's what it's about. And MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, they have a lot of money. They raise a lot of money, and they spread that money around to politicians to stiffen DUI laws. That is a fact. That's what happens. So they make the they get it so that the legal limit of alcohol in your system is lowered. The fucking the sentences are harsher, stuff like that through legislation. So FBS, you're not missing anything with drinking. It's not like we're in our 20s and 30s. No. And that's another thing. I'm fully aware, not only of my health situation, but of the fact that, my last few years drinking, I mean, oh my God. For the most part, my body was so used to alcohol. It wasn't that bad, in the mornings, the next day, whatever. Plus, I'd wake up to a couple of lines or whatever it was. But, I mean, there was days I'd wake up and it would be like, I just wanted to die. Even in that hotel. Oh, my God. That hotel, like that last day, the day that I called my mom and said, I need you to call crisis intervention, get me into a rehab. The way I felt, it was like I simultaneously had a hangover and withdrawal at the same time. That's what it felt like. I was sick. I was shaking. I was sweating. I was throwing up. I was a disaster. And that was after like a 4-day binge. And that was enough for me. That was enough fucking pain. I had it. And that's the day I went to rehab, and here I am. So on the 21st of this month, I have 38 months clean and sober, and I'm not throwing that away for any fucking thing. I'm just not. And I hope the day never comes where I do give in and relapse. But it's certainly not in our plans, but when is it really? It never is. I know, Cecil, but I still want to. I still want to move there. Yeah, it is. Tony Ducks. It is, man. It's tough. It's tough. Joseph Montanero, FBS 100% about liquor. It destroys lives and families for centuries now. Oh, my God, yeah, without a doubt. Christopher Capello, alcohol will bring you to a place you don't want to be. Yeah, it's a true nightmare. It really is. It is. I'm telling you. Listen, my only other drug that I was ever addicted to was cocaine. And even the cocaine, I wouldn't have done without the alcohol. That's true. I mean, there was times where I did coke perfectly, sober. But I couldn't do much, and it never lasted long. You know what I mean? Alcohol is the perfect ingredient to mix with cocaine when you're when you're using that, and it makes it possible for you to do substantial amounts of it. Without alcohol, how much coke can one person really do before they either lose their fucking mind or they drop fucking dead? Alcohol for me would keep my heart under control because I always had issues. You know what I mean? So I could do more coke. It would keep me from having the anxiety that cocaine can bring. That you get jittery, you start geeking out. You're all over the fucking place. Not with alcohol. So, Even, Coke wouldn't have been an issue in my life without alcohol. No fucking way. I didn't even like cocaine that much by itself. It was the combination. It's just like I didn't even like alcohol that much by itself, but the combination of the two. There was a period of time where I would look forward all day, no matter what I was doing, to going to the store, getting either a bottle, or if I couldn't get a bottle for whatever reason, some beers, whatever. And I'm talking about shit, just anything that would get you drunk. Natty Ice Pounders, shit like that. Get 6 or 7 of them. Go back to the fucking house, sit in a room with a big bag of Coke and a big bottle or those beers, whatever it may be, and just put on like old Howard Stern on YouTube on my TV or something and just sit there and crack the fuck up and get high and drunk all night. I used to love it. It was like my favorite thing to do. And I would, at some point during the night, I'd call somebody and I would just ramble for like 10 hours. You know what I mean? I'm exaggerating, of course, but long fucking time. I call up a girl, whatever, and then you get a girl over, and now you got the Coke and the alcohol for her too, and it's a whole new type of party. I mean, this was my routine for a long time. I don't know, Benny D over. I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it, man. You would think so, but like I said, you gotta think about all the different ways people die from alcohol, drunk driving accidents, violence, all kinds of domestic situations, stuff like that, liver disease, alcohol poisoning, heart. Give you an example. My heart, when I went into critical condition, this lady who had been, whatever they call the people who do the echocardiograms, she had been in that field for a long time, a couple of decades. She did the echo of my heart and said, I've never seen a heart in this bad a condition. And I do echocardiograms on 90-year-old people. She said, I've never seen a heart this bad after doing my echocardiogram. Okay. And you know what they told me? The cardiologist, he told me that is more from alcohol than it is from cocaine. Alcohol will enlarge your heart and do things like that. More so than cocaine. So there's all types of different ways, man. I mean, just drunk driving accidents alone, off the fucking charts, really. Damn, how far up am I? Where I gotta go? Don't forget the cigarettes. Oh God. Yeah. You need, well, here, let me go back to some of your earlier comments. It works the other way around too. You can sober up from being drunk with a few good blasts. Yeah, well, they keep each other going. Like, that's exactly. You can drink longer by doing a little bit of Coke, and you can do Coke longer by drinking with it. So, like, they balance each other out. When I first started really getting back into Coke as an adult, you know what I mean? Because I had done it in my teenage years. I would go to this place called Ada's in New York City. It was a drug dealer hangout. You know what I mean? It was all thugs and drug dealers and customers, but it was also like Cheers for York City. Everybody knew each other. It was all members only. So you had to know 2 people just to get in, and you had to have a job and shit like that for them to even accept you and give you a membership. But we all hung out there. It's where we did our business and shit. You know what I'm saying? And I would fucking go there with a bunch of Coke on me, all bagged up, ready to go, ready to make money every night. I did that shit for years. And I would start, I would be drinking a lot. I used to it was a VPA, you know what I mean? You could get a fucking, back then I used to drink 151 in Cokes. They were like $1.50, you know what I mean? And then a few times a night, they give you a free one. I'm talking about 6 ounces of 151 with a splash of Coke. Like, that's how they made those motherfuckers. It was unreal. And I would drink them. And when I started to get too drunk, I'd go in the bathroom, and then I'm brand new. And then the same thing towards the end of the night. I'd be back home and I'd be doing fucking lines and I start geeking, break out a bottle, start drinking, brand new. You can go for days. And that's how you die or come real close to it. Absolutely. LOL, Nadia. As far as the cigarettes, yeah, bro. When you're doing coke and drinking, holy fuck, bro. You can go through a carton of cigarettes in a 10-hour session. Mustache Pete, FBS is definitely all about the money, but if you drink and drive nowadays when we have Uber and Lyft, you got to be dumb. I wish they had that back in the day. Yeah, it's easy now to get around. But people still will. People are fucking stupid. And not only that, but listen, that's another side effect of alcohol, your inhibitions. Everything is a good idea when you're drunk. Everything. Oh, let me fuck this pig over here I never met. Let me get behind this wheel. Let me pick a fight with that guy. You know, let me have a few more drinks. Let me try some cocaine for the first time. Everything's a good fucking idea when you're drinking. Alcohol is never my poison, but trust me, I have my vices. However, I'm happy devices I choose. I'm happy devices I chose. Can't be easily bought at every store and corner bodega. I understand that to an extent, but I'm of the opinion, as far as the legalization of drugs, that, well, see, I don't know, Mustache Pete. I kind of see where you're coming from, because you might not be in a neighborhood where it's so readily available anyway. Like, you know, I lived in New York City for 20 fucking years. Like, in a place like that, no matter what your vice is, it's within arm's distance. All you got to do is go to the corner or go to a friend's house or go see your dealer. They're selling it out in the hood, in the projects, whatever. You just, you drive by. If you look Puerto Rican and shouting Montego, you know what I mean? Like, it's marketed. It's everywhere. But I guess you're right. For someone like you, maybe it would make it a lot more difficult if it was, you know, sold legally and it was available everywhere, like alcohol is. But I still think that, you know, I'm just of the opinion that if let's just say all drugs were legalized tomorrow, it becomes Amsterdam. You know what I mean? I've never tried heroin in my life. If they're selling it at the corner store or at fucking CVS or at wherever, I'm still not going to try heroin. I have no desire. If I wanted to, I would just go get it. You know what I mean? Nobody is too far from it. Same thing with coke and shit like that. If you're not somebody who wants to do coke, the fact that now it's legal and you could buy it anywhere isn't going to make you want to do it. So I might actually be of the opinion that all other drugs should be legalized and alcohol should be prohibited. And the only reason I say that is because look at what comes with drugs being illegal. The drug war, the so-called drug war, the fucking cartels, all these different things. The fact that like 65% of American prisoners in county, state, and federal prisons are there for non-violent drug offenses, meaning they just got caught with possession of a certain amount of a certain drug, or they got caught selling a certain amount of a certain drug with no violence involved, no weapons on them, no nothing. But that's another problem. Why do you think, listen, drugs, there's a lot of reasons drugs aren't being legalized in this country ever, okay? One of them is the pharmaceutical industry. Republicans, okay? Sorry. But the pharmaceutical industry will always, it'll always be the Republicans that keep this shit illegal. We know that. And who do the pharmaceutical companies donate major funds to? And this is not my opinion. This is not politics. This is a fact. Look it up. It's Republican politicians. They collect a fortune from these pharmaceutical companies to make sure even things like marijuana isn't legalized, at least on the federal level. Because guess what? Pharmaceutical companies would lose a fucking fortune. if marijuana becomes even more readily available and legal, and it can replace some of these pharmaceuticals produced by these companies. That's one thing. Another thing is, same thing. I hate to say it, but Republican politicians, they are also the biggest recipients of, we'll just say, campaign contributions, or you can call it kickbacks, from the private prison industry. Okay. Those companies, those corporations that own private prisons, okay, need customers. They need customers constantly. You can't run a business without them. And in the private prison industry, the customers are inmates. Okay, you're not going to fill this country's prisons, as many as we have, with murderers and rapists and chomos and shit like that. No, there's way too many prisons with way too much space. The only crime that's that prevalent and also that punishable is drug offenses. Okay, so they can't legalize drugs because all these different industries would lose a fortune, and those industries just happen to pad the right politicians' pockets to make sure that that never takes fucking place. It's as simple as that. Look what we saw with the fucking judge here in PA. What was it, in Easton or something? The fucking judge, the Kids for Cash scandal. This motherfucker was taking money from private prison companies that ran these juvenile detention centers and these kid prisons. Okay, he was taking money from them to send kids to these fucking jails for nonsense, loitering, truancy, 2 fucking years for petty shoplifting, shit like that, putting kids in jail all over the place because the private prison company that owned these facilities needed customers. So they paid this judge off. That's how it works. That's just how it works. So it's never going to change. You know what I mean? It's big business for the government. I mean, look, do you know that private prisons, like Corrections Corporation of America and the GEO Group, the two biggest owner of private prisons in America, are publicly traded on Wall Street on the fucking stock market? You know what happens when you give a profit incentive to the people that run prisons? The people in those prisons get the very least of everything: food, toiletries, you fucking name it, because there's a profit margin that needs to be met. There's a fucking a board of directors. There's the whole nine. There's investors. These people need their profit. So it's a sick system, and that industry cannot exist without drug offenders constantly being sent to prison. Can't happen. Sonogram tech, is that what it is? Gotcha. America is trying to get this Brittany Griner out of trouble in Russia right now for having those vape cartridges. There's tens of thousands of people in jail here in America for the same thing. Oh, yeah, I think it's fair to say hundreds of thousands. Yeah, absolutely, bro. I know, it's stupid fucking shit. Oh, yeah, Chris Capello, I hear you. It does. Apparently, Vinny Green lied or died or something because MRE is roasting him. Oh, like I said in the beginning of the show, hopefully he died. Junior Gotti tried building one. Yes, he certainly did. The Bronx House of Detention, I believe. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I think too, especially when you watch stuff like this Vice thing I was talking about in the beginning, it's population control to some extent, I think. I really do. They want these drugs out here killing people and shit. You know what I mean? They want that. Let me just do something here real quick. Joseph Montanaro. Oh, wait, let me get your whole message. $20. What's up, FBS? Been busy, so I haven't been catching a lot of lives, but the replays are keeping me entertained, so I got to kick up. Well, thank you. Thank you for the $20. As you guys know, on addiction and recovery shows, I don't ask for donations. If you want to send them, that's fine, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, they certainly are, Jesse Roth. So, yeah, they all get it. They all get it. Yeah, this is why I say about politicians, fuck each and every one of them. Democrat, Republican, they don't have our best interests in mind. They don't give a fuck about us. They don't. I was talking to somebody on the phone earlier who doesn't know me that well, but heard some things about me, and he goes, "Oh yeah, that's right, you're a liberal." No, I'm not. I hate them all. I will never take a side. I hate them all. Democrats are just as crooked, just in different ways. The war on drugs has always been a failure. Always. Always. Absolutely. That's because it was never really a war. You know, that's what they call it, and that's what they pretend. But the fact of the matter is, they need these drugs on the streets for a lot of different reasons. Bottom fucking line is, and this, I know I keep, it sounds like I'm beating a dead horse, but the prison industry in general, not just private prisons, it's a huge fucking industry, a huge money making industry in this country. And they need drug offenders. They need them. Even nonviolent, they don't give a fuck. They'll put you away forever. I'll give you an example. I had a friend of mine who got a lot of Fed time. He actually got 30 years. He got caught with a couple of bulletproof vests, a couple of ARs. Of course, he was already a felon. He was selling heroin and crack and everything else in large quantities, not just in York City, but in the outlying suburbs and stuff. And he got 33 years for that. Okay. They do it in months, but I don't remember the exact amount of months. Equaled 33 years. A few days later, I opened the newspaper. I was at my job in the break room. A few days after he got sentenced, I see a guy that raped 4 women in like a 6-month period. He got 5 years. 5 years. The drug dealer got 33 fucking years. I mean, now don't get me wrong. This particular guy, you know, he was a bad dude. You know what I mean? I understand he deserved to go to prison, but there's quite a bit of a disparity there. You know what I'm saying? A guy who does what the rapist did deserves a hell of a lot more than he got, and the drug dealer deserves a hell of a lot less than he got. Just my opinion. Democrats, Republicans, same bird, different wing. Absolutely. Yeah, Joe Bag of Donuts. Yeah, I don't know what's going on anymore. I'll tell you what. But this is the best part about this mob tube thing for me is that I no longer pay attention to politics. I don't. I still read a lot. I read up on stuff, like I said, the private prison industry, stuff like that interests me. But as for politics, nah, I don't even care any fucking more. Yeah, Steve Cutler, a lot of people are like that. I mean, when it really comes down to it, I always said for every DUI I got, you know, I got away with probably 1,000. No exaggeration. And I think it's that way for most people. I mean, DUI, you'd be hard pressed to find an individual that you know that hasn't driven drunk at some point. And it's a despicable fucking crime. It really is. You know, you don't realize it when you're doing it, but it really is. It's the most selfish fucking thing you could do. Because when you're driving drunk, your car is basically a weapon. It's like taking a gun and firing into an open crowd, basically. There was a story right here on Route 30. There was a story about this woman. She was leaving a bar, I think on George Street. I know you guys don't know the area, but she was leaving a bar, and there was 4 Harley workers. They were coming back from break. They were going back to Harley on their break. They were third shift workers. It was, you know, I don't know what the fuck, 2, 3 a.m., whatever it may have been. She was leaving the bar, the club, whatever, and she was driving the wrong way. Okay, she was driving, I think she was driving eastbound in the westbound lane, something like that. And she hit them head on and killed all 4 of them. Killed all 4 of them. You know what she got for that? No bullshit. For killing all 4 of them? 12 years. Because at least in PA, if you kill somebody during a drunk driving incident, you get 3 years per victim. 3 years. Fucking sick. Scott McDonald, I hate being around drunk people. What's funny to them is fucking annoying to me, LOL. Yeah, I hear that, bro. I completely identify with you. We partied exactly the same, only I found opiates too along the way. Yeah, listen, I don't know what it is about me. I just got lucky as far as never getting into that. But I'll tell you why. I'm certainly not better than anyone. I'll tell you why I think I never got into opiates. My age. Like, how old are you, Chris Capello? Just out of curiosity. No, I'm pretty sure that's mandatory 3 years, so it's a flat sentence. So if you get 12 years, you serve every day of it. It's not a split sentence. Like in PA, if you get, say you get a 5 to 10, you'll serve 4 years in state prison. You'll do the 5th year in a halfway house, and then you'll serve the other 5 years on parole. But when they give you a flat sentence, which is usually what comes with a mandatory minimum, then that's what you do. So, like, say you get 3 years for killing somebody in a DUI crash, you'll serve every day of that 3 years. Jersey, vehicle manslaughter, and that is from 5 to 10 years. Yeah, it's different everywhere, I guess. I want to see how old Chris Capello is, because this is my take on the whole why I never got into opiates thing. I think that most of us, our drug and alcohol using behavior starts when we're, late teens, early adults. Unfortunately, for some people, early teens, whatever. But I think that whatever is big at that time is obviously what you're going to wind up doing. Now, when I was a teen and even a young adult, at least where I was at, heroin was nowhere. I mean, I'm not saying it wasn't sold, but the people I was around and shit, nobody fucked with heroin. I was around all drug dealers, and none of them sold heroin. They all sold coke and crack, and that was it. Heroin was more in different neighborhoods in the city and stuff. You know what I mean? It's like that in a lot of places. And nobody fucked with it. Plus, it wasn't as big back then as it is now. Now, it's way more prevalent than it was back then. It's fucking everywhere all the time. But so I did cocaine. That was it. And I sold crack and I was around crack, but I never had any desire to try that because I had seen so. Listen, this is the way it's marketed in a way. Cocaine is like the upper class rich man's drug, and crack is like the lower class poor man's drug. That's the way it always looks. People doing cocaine are glamorized in a way. Look at like Michelle Pfeiffer and Scarface, stuff like that. As opposed to Pookie in New Jack City. Now, if you're a kid and you see both of those movies, which is going to look more appealing to you? Fine-ass Michelle Pfeiffer in a club snorting a bump off her hand, or Pookie sitting in an alley smoking a crack pipe homeless and dirty. And that's just the way it always was. So I was, I did the powder. That was it. And I had a friend or two here or there who dabbled with the heroin shit, but not much. By the time I got old enough to where heroin was a big fucking deal, like in society and shit, or maybe I should have said by the time enough time passed, I was already in my bag. I had my coke, my alcohol. That was my thing. I was never into drugs, believe it or not. I was never like, oh, let me do some acid, some ecstasy, some shrooms, some fucking. I tried some stuff once or twice, but I never even liked smoking weed. I never did. It was just coke and alcohol. I don't know. So by the time the opiates were a real big deal and heroin was, a huge epidemic, I just was. I had already seen enough that I didn't want no fucking part of it. I think a lot of people try heroin and opiates when they're younger because they haven't been around long enough to see the destruction it causes. So they think that it's something like coke where you could just try it, maybe not become hooked. I just was never around people who did heroin or opiates. You know what I mean? Until I got older, like I said. So it never appealed to me. Not only that, but I'm terrified because I've said it before and I'll say it again. People who have suffered from opiate addiction, whether it be heroin or just pills, to me, it seems like and I don't want to be negative or scare anyone in here or bring anyone down, but it seems like an inescapable addiction where, like, as I see a way out of alcoholism. For me, it was medically detoxed. That's it. I had to get medically detoxed and I was good because it was really the physical addiction that kept me drinking. It wasn't really mental. I never really liked drinking that much. Even now, why do you think the only times I get cravings is when I'm in a situation like the Hard Rock Hotel in fucking Florida? If I go to an average restaurant tonight and there's a bar 10 feet away from me and people are drinking, I don't even think about it. You know what I mean? It's when it's real, it looks like all the fun in the world and it's all around you. It's a different thing. What was my point? I don't even remember. Oh, yeah. But with opiates, it just seems inescapable. Like the people I know, listen, I don't know anyone till this day who is clean from opiates. I can honestly say not a single person. I know people who have gotten clean and relapsed. And I know most of them have died. Okay, I was told a long time ago there's no such thing as an old heroin addict. It seems that way. I don't know anyone who, and I'm sure there's people right in this chat who have been clean from opiates for fucking years, if not decades. But I don't know anyone. Everybody I know who is serious with opiates is either dead or they're still using. And I know that out of all the drugs, I would think it's got the highest rate of relapse. It terrifies me. I look at someone like Bill Catola, the way he hurt himself, or some friends I know have been in car accidents, and I think, oh my God, what if, God forbid, I hurt myself to the point where I have no choice. The pain is so severe. I have to take this shit. Now I'm hooked for life. I was in rehab with a woman named Jane. This woman was 72 years old. She was hooked on opiates. It was her third time in rehab. She didn't even start taking them until she was in her 60s. And she didn't see any way out because of her pain. She had a lot of fucking physical pain. That's why I say, like, you stupid asses that make fun of Shannon and shit. The woman has fibromyalgia. You have no idea. She's sitting here in agony some fucking times. You know what I mean? And she won't take anything more than an Excedrin. And then, God forbid, she puts her head down or leaves the room for a minute or something. They make a big deal out of it. Well, you have no idea what she's going through. No fucking idea. And I give her all the credit in the world because she won't take nothing. K-Mac, if you were government, how would you? I don't know. K-Mac, I'll never sit here and act like I have all the answers. I just know that things have been proven. Like it's been proven that the government. When I said we, I just meant America, but the government puts most of the drugs here. I mean, they do. There was a thing years ago where they found out that the fucking the United States government had a deal with one of the big cartels, and they were bringing the shit in themselves. I mean, it's all a big game. There's no war on drugs. They just say that. That's an advertising campaign. That's no, not advertising. I'm sorry. It's a public relations thing. Ooh, look, we're fighting it to the point where it's a war. We're doing everything we can, folks. We just can't get it off the street. When in reality, they're fucking putting it here. They're putting it here. You ever see somebody from the hood get on a fucking plane and fly in a ton of fucking cocaine or something or heroin? No. It's being put here. And even drug dealers, we're all the fucking dummies too, because we sell the shit thinking we're making a little money just so they can lock us up, take all our money anyway, and then some. With fines and costs and everything else we have to wind up paying back. I mean, we're just playing their fucking game. They need us to sell the drugs so they can put us in jail and make more money off it. Okay, they make the drugs by putting them here and selling them to begin with. Then we sell them. We get caught. We go to jail. They make more money. It never ends. Never ends. And they'll never run out of people to use and sell drugs. There will always be drug users and drug dealers, no matter what. And the government needs them. So they put the shit here. You know what I mean? That's it. Me too. Not a weed smoker. No acid, shrooms. No times I never did coke. I always need to be in full control, and I've seen friends get high and be out of control. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. What was your thing, Tony Ducks? I don't remember. DJ Kaz, but we all know one drink is never enough and a million won't be enough. Salute everyone. Yeah, absolutely. There were old heroin addicts when heroin was just heroin back in the 70s, 80s. The shit today isn't heroin. True. Ah, man. Congratulations on 15 years, Benny D. Over. Joseph Montanaro, 14 years in the rear view for me. Luckily, I got my shit together before the fent came through. Yeah, no, you ain't kidding, bro. It's a fucking dangerous time to be a heroin addict. Holy shit. I know her fibromyalgia pain. Yeah, she goes through hell. Stupid asses. Why is she making faces? Shit like this. Fucking dummies. Listen, I'll give you an example. Last night, this is how well I know my Shanna. You know how you just know your spouse. You know what I mean? Last night, I went upstairs to lay with Shanna. I always, try to lay with her till she falls asleep, whatever, because I stay up. And I go up and I lay down with her, and she puts her head on my chest, and she's being very, very quiet. And even when I talk to her, she's almost whispering. And I'm asking her, is anything wrong? Did I do something? Is something bothering you? And I've gotten to the point with her now where I know she's hurting physically. You know what I mean? But she won't complain. She won't tell me, even if I ask. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I think she doesn't want to feel like she's complaining. I don't know. But I can tell. I can tell by the way she speaks, the volume of her voice, all that stuff, that she's hurting. And it breaks my fucking heart because there's nothing I can do. But she suffers. Pain is different for everyone, too. What pain to you isn't to me. Vice versa. It's a touchy subject. Very true. Very true. It's debilitating. Yes, it is, Jesse Roth. Absolutely. It's another moneymaker for them in many ways, of course. Nah, K-Mac, listen, like I said, I'll never sit here and act like I have all the answers. I don't know the solution. I just know that there's something seriously wrong here. And this fucking war on drugs has been going on, what, about 50 years or so now? I mean, come on. I mean, you guys remember the Reagan thing when, like, in the, what was it, 82 or something? This was during like the Freeway Rick Ross time and shit. Like he has the bag of crack, the big bag of crack, and he's sitting there and he's saying, uh, they just caught somebody right outside the gates of the White House selling this. And the reason he was doing it was because his wife was pushing the Just Say No to Drugs campaign. And he was trying to show, look what a scourge on America this is. Somebody was actually selling all this crack cocaine right outside the gates of the White House. Well, it turns out that deal was not supposed to take place there. That was a DEA setup. They were setting somebody up. And at the request of the president, that deal was moved to right outside the gates of the White House, just so they can make that bust and Ronald Reagan can do that press conference. Okay, so it's all bullshit. This is another reason, guys. If you think I'm a Democrat, you're out of your fucking mind. I'm neither. I never will be. I'll never put one of those labels on myself. I don't trust them. Okay, either side. I don't. When I hear either politicians on either side talking, all I hear is bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. It's like watching Lee Cole talk. I know everything they say on either side is a lie all the time. Don't listen to them. Don't. Joe Gambino, what's up, my friend? How are you, bro? Glad to see you here. Did it really? Well, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure it could cause a strain, so to speak. Congrats, bro. Let's see. Did Tony Ducks? Tony Ducks, my apologies for forgetting, but I don't remember what your drug of choice was. Oh, there you are. I dabbled with pain pills many years ago. Being truthful, going away probably saved me from getting out of hand with them. So I really got lucky because I'm sure things could have went south quick. Oh, I'm sure, yeah. Whatever did it, bro. I'm glad you're okay now. And I had access to them like you wouldn't believe. Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. Yeah, Jane Creek, exactly. Reagan wages a war on drugs as the CIA floods the streets with crack. Yeah. Guys, if you never saw it, go look at a documentary on Netflix called A Crack in the System. Check that shit out. Tell me what you think. Or is it just called Crack in the System? Something like that. It's mainly about Freeway Rick Ross, but you'll learn a lot. Most of you have probably already seen it. It's not the only one, but it's one of the good ones. That show Snowfall talks about the CIA bringing in the coke. I never saw it. I got to watch that. What's up, Brian Bozak? Not a lot of comments today. We only got 105 people. What time is it? I guess maybe I'll shut it down soon. When the OC hit the market and advertised as being non-addictive, it really fucked up so many people's lives. Oh my God, yeah. And that's certainly how it was advertised. Fucking shame. All right, guys. Well, I hope you got something out of this. I apologize. Usually I read a lot of comments and we talk about different things. I apologize for just rambling and telling my own story and talking my own shit. I've had these things on my mind for the last week or so, and I really, I guess I had a lot to say. So sorry if I kind of killed this one for you guys, but I did my best. And yes, Coke did have Coke in it. Joseph Montanero, yes, I will be back on 10 o'clock after Gunsmoke the Dawn at 8 p.m. So I will see you guys then, all right? I hope you enjoyed this show. Everybody stay strong, stay clean, stay sober. Uh, Try to stay positive and keep a smile on your face. And that's it. That's all you can do. All right. I love you all. And until next time, salute.